Hi, this video I'm going to show you how to use the tabletop editor and um, remotely display the tabletop um, to your game session on whatever screen you choose using your browser. Um, just to recap, Tabletop is a Node.js app that runs React, MUI, and Mongo as a data store. It's fully open source, and you can get that source from my GitHub page, micag/tabletop. If you followed the instructions for install from the video on this channel that I uploaded previously, you'll have it up and running on localhost. But it's fairly simple to set up, and the instructions are there on GitHub. You can just run two commands and have it stand up on localhost port 8080. You can change the IP or host name and port as well by editing the compose file. But for now, let's assume you're running a game. You've got it up and running, and you want to start a session with your players. So as a game master, you would hop into the editor. If you don't have any scenes set up, then there's a crash course here that sort of goes over the controls, but for the purposes of demonstration, we'll walk through it in this video. So if you hit the hamburger on the left, there's your scene list. Campaigns will come later. The default scene will start without any media, obviously. So to set the background, you can hit the map button. Each scene has one or two images. There's a detailed background that only the game master can see that you'd use for annotated images that where you don't want your players to see those annotations, and then a player background that they do see. So we'll use some of the free media provided by D&D Beyond in their starter campaigns. So I've downloaded a few. So we'll start with the player map for Stormwreck Isle and then the detailed background. And you can see it's a little hard to tell here because we're not fully zoomed in, but there are annotations on the DM's version. So we'll update that, and then when you select the scene, there you have Stormwreck Isle. The DM you can see has the wreck of Compass Rose and all these different scenes or annotations that are visible to them. They can update the remote display by hitting sync. And from this point on, there is an active tabletop going. So on localhost again, if you hit the display, there you can see the unannotated or the player's version of the map. To create a new scene, you can hit the create scene button under the scene list. We'll create Van Dalen. I'll use the maps provided again graciously from D&D Beyond. All right, and so you can click your scenes, and here you can see we have like an annotated version for the Dungeon Master, and then just the regular scene view for your players. Once your scene is up and running, no doubt you're going to want to obscure or draw. So we'll go over some of the controls there. The basics, there's a selection tool that you can use to select a region. It will allow you to obscure large regions or zoom in on them for the players. So as an example, we can block out a section and obscure it. We can choose a section and zoom in on it and then run the sync, and then there you can see you're zoomed in, zoom out. You can set the opacity as well. There's display opacity, which is um, the opacity that the GM sees. So you can see here if you need to see underneath your drawings, then you can edit that here. You can also set the render opacity, which is the opacity that your players see. So you can add transparency there as well. It's not super useful, but it costs a lot to do it. So here you can see there's a lighter version of it. We'll change the color as well. So pick a different color. Select it again, then obscure it, and then when you sync, You can see that it's not fully obscured. It's translucent. You can also paint. I'll just put it back up to 1. So you can paint as well. When you're done painting, you can sync, and there it is. While you're painting, you can also increase the size of your brush. So you can see here, we'll use a bigger brush if you want to obscure larger areas, and then sync it, and there it is. Opacity doesn't really work as well with the brush because you get multiple paints as you drag it along, but that's okay. What else? You can rotate, you can zoom. So here, this is just the DM zoom, but you can rotate and update the display, and the overlay goes with it. You can zoom in on sections of the map if you choose. We will zoom in and send that up. There, they're zoomed. Zoom out, set the rotation back, and then clear the display as well. You can change your scenes, going back to the default and then syncing them again. And hopefully, this will help you avoid printing maps and maybe repurpose an old TV or a cheap projector from Amazon to run your game. And if you happen to be a coder and would be interested in contributing, please feel free to reach out. I would love to take some patches or add some features that you would like. Okay, hopefully you enjoy and have a good day.